So dimensioning is very important in SolidWorks. You always want to be able to dimension your parts, and to do that you want to make sure that you're in sketch mode and you're going to draw something. So here I'm just going to draw a center rectangle like so, and you'll see that right here it's underdefined. I'm also in IPS, so I want to be in millimeters. So let me just go back and edit the sketch. So right now it's underdefined, and I want to make this fully defined, meaning that I can't move any of these sketches and it's locked in, so it's not going to move anywhere when I go back to edit it. So that's really important, because when we work with other people, we want to make sure that our part is fully dimensioned so that it doesn't vary when another feature is introduced or changed. So to do that, we want to click on the Smart Dimension tool right here, and you want to click on the line, and this Smart Dimension will come up and you can edit the dimension as such. Now you'll see that if I want to delete this, I can just click on the arrow and click on delete. Or if I want to change the dimension, I can also double click on the number and just type in a new dimension. You'll also notice that when I click on the Smart Dimension tool, if I don't select anything and I select my line, I can get the dimension for it. Or I can select 2 points from here to here to get the dimension as well. And you also see that I can move the number around, and when I Smart Dimension, if I were to click on this line, I can move my dimension around by dragging the mouse around and then clicking. So you see that because this is a center rectangle, you'll see that it's fully defined right now because there's no other dimensions I can add to this rectangle. If I were to add an additional measurement like so, it would become confused and this error would come up. So this means that it's overdefined and all the lines are yellow, which means that it has too many dimensions for this rectangle. So we cannot add additional or duplicate measurements. So you always want to make sure that your drawing is fully defined before you go into features and extrude the sketch. So if I want to go back and edit the sketch and change the dimensions, I just double click on the value right here and I'm able to do so. So let's change this to 300 and then click on exit sketch, and this will update the entire boss extrude. So another thing that you need to know is that these are relationships, and these represent relationships for their particular lines. So this particular line has a horizontal relationship, and this particular line has a vertical relationship, and this one has a horizontal relationship, and this one has a coincident relationship. So what does all of that mean? So if I were to create a new part, and if I were to draw a line, you'll see that right now my line is not aligned in any way. So if I were to make this horizontal, I can click on this relation here to make it horizontal. Or if I delete the existing relation, I can click on vertical to make it vertical. And again, if I delete this existing relation, I can make it horizontal. So those are very important constraints. If I also want to make this attached or coincident to the origin, I just control click to select multiple objects and make it coincident. And you'll see that this line, no matter where I move it, is stuck onto this origin. And you'll also see that this line has now turned black because it cannot move anywhere else because of these two constraints I've just imposed. To delete the constraints, I just select this box right here and click delete, and you'll see that this line has turned blue. So I can actually move this line now, but if you zoom in, you'll see that the dot on the origin is black because it's still constrained to be on top of the origin. So you'll see that because it's coincident to the origin, this line isn't moving anywhere away from the origin. So if I just make this line vertical by clicking on the line. And if I click on this point, you'll see that now this point can move up and down. So if I go back to Smart Dimension and I Smart Dimension this line, and I give it a diameter, a length of 2 inches. So this dimension right here has constrained this particular line, and you'll see that I can no longer move this line anywhere. And you also see that it's fully defined. So you want to make sure your sketch is fully defined before you move on to extruding it or performing any other features on it. So that's good.